in dorsai?
Just in the store side.
No.
Now, first word. This is not a muscle. This is what we learned in lectures, an aponeurosis. It has a specific name. It's called the lumbodorsal fascia. Don't say muscle, because it's not a muscle. It's an aponeurosis. That's why it's white. When you have both halves, it looks like a diamond. This is just half the diamond. Everybody see that? Because it's on the too superficial. Here, you can see the whole diamond. Just in the store side blue, lumbodorsal fascia red. You got it? Same thing here. I'm going to also cross off like 4 muscles on page 16 that you're not responsible for.
Oh, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Okay.
All right, here's half the diamond, lumbodorsal fascia. What you're sitting on is the gluteus maximus. There in yellow. That's how I can always tell when someone doesn't study for lecture exam 2. I mean, allow exam 2. The only one we'll get. Now, when the gluteus maximus is in place, you can see the superior origin of the gluteus medius there in green. But you can only see part of the gluteus medius. The superior origin. You have to see all of the gluteus medius, you got to take the gluteus maximus off, and then there's the gluteus medius there. Red is lumbodorsal fascia. Okay, in order to see gluteus minimus, we have to take off the gluteus medius because it's deep to that. And I don't have any models where I can take off the gluteus medius. So I cannot pin gluteus minimus. That's the first one you got to cross off. There's the large left legs. I'm going to let somebody else take them down because it's setting up both labs. And you guys aren't going to probably stick around and study muscles, are you? If you do, if you want me to get down to large left legs, I will. But that's what it looks like. Gluteus maximus in yellow, gluteus medius in green. Again, you can only see part of the gluteus medius. Now, notice here with the gluteus maximus, we got an origin that's iliac crest, sacrum coccyx. It has 2 insertions. One is this white stripe on the lateral thigh. And then this guy here, it's gray, but you can see this white stripe on the lateral thigh. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the insertions, and the other one, it actually, part of this is going deep, and it's going to that question we had over there today, linea spura. Now that white stripe on the lateral thigh has 2 names. That's the name your textbook uses, but the older name is fascia lata. It is not a muscle. It's a broad tendon. Okay, turn to page 18. Because this is muscle number 8. Origins, just like I said, iliac crest, sacrum coccyx. The 2 insertions is the iliotibial tract or fascia lata and linea spura. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
If we shorten these fibers, especially since it's pulling from the rear, hopefully your gluteus maximus is in your rear, it's going to pull the femur back. That's extension. This is flexion. This is extension. But also, if it shortens, it's going to laterally rotate the femur. Extends, laterally rotates femur. I got another one right. Again, you can almost deduce it by imagining those fibers shortening. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So is this how this lab is going to be?
No.
After the lab exam?
Woohoo!
Like, you're like this. Whatever you say. All right, so the red arrow, again, it's not on page 16, it's on page 18 where it says iliotibial tract, in parentheses, fascia lata. That's the red. Now what you've got to remember is that that is what the gluteus maximus is inserting on, but it's not a muscle. There's two muscles that pull on it. One is the gluteus maximus, and one is the tensor fascia lata muscle. That is the muscle. Everybody got it? But fascia lata is not a muscle. So let's look at it from the lateral. This is the same left legs from the lateral, gluteus maximus. So this is posterior, this is anterior. Gluteus maximus is pulling from the posterior. There's gluteus medius up there, but this is fascia lata. The tensor fascia lata muscle is the blue arrow. Everybody got it? Pay attention. Now's not the time to let down on loud too. Fascia lata. So this is red, this is blue. They're not the same thing. This is the red arrow, this is the blue arrow. Everybody know the difference between red and blue?
Yeah.
Everybody remember the difference between red and blue? Question?
No.
I think I called the IT band.
Yes. Yes. So it's iliotibial is the IT.
Would you take that on the test?
Look, we can't even get lambdoidal straight here yet. I'm gonna accept lambdoidal.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
How many people put lambdoidal?
All right,
Oh
lambdoidal.
my gosh. All right, these two muscles are not on page 16. The blue one is psoas major, green one is iliacus. But below this white line, they merge. And this one is on page 16, and that is the iliopsoas. Same for this verse and then this. P is silent. Iliopsoas. Iliacus, psoas major, iliopsoas.
So they
What
come
I want
together
you to
in
recognize visually here, this is part of being systematic, we're going to get to later. Oh, who here has textbooks? Oh, sweet. If you have a textbook here, get it out.
Okay.
Turn to the appendicular muscle chapter. Well, you have one, but you didn't bring it. We can find, but you say, well, I'll look good and say I have one.
What pages or what is that?
All right, who here has a textbook here? 1, 2, 3,
Oh.
5.
What do you want us to look up? Mine's
Just turn
my
to the appendicular muscles and get to the muscles of the thigh section. Every table's got to have one. Which table does not have a textbook? I want to shame you guys. You proudly raise your hand.
Lambdoidal
Okay, so
over here doesn't have one.
You got both these tables filled?
Okay, so mine.
You guys know? All three of you guys know? No, you know what I'm about. Okay, good. So grab a textbook and turn it to the
There we go.
appendicular muscles.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's on, oh, these are axial muscles. Axial muscles. Axial, axial.
All right. How about you guys on the side?
Appendicular.
Eventually, okay, everybody, eventually you're going to crowd around. If that table only has one textbook, you got to crowd around and see it. Eventually.
Page 357.
And the figure, the specific figure you want to find is actions of the muscles of the thigh. Let me find it.
So keep going then.
How many of you guys have forgotten how to read? Okay. Well, it's different for different editions. So the title of the figure is Actions of Muscles of the Thigh. And it looks like a big ham steak. Actions of the muscles of the thigh.
I mean, oh, got it, found it.
Everybody got it?
$384 if you're in the current edition.
When we get to it, just pull it off to
Right
the
there,
side
right
right
there,
now.
right there. Done. Pretty sure.
Again,
it's-
just find that figure, actions and muscles of the thigh. Put it down for now. We'll get back to it.
Right?
Any table has 2 textbooks? Any table has 2 textbooks? You guys do? Okay, so, okay. Now you guys got 2 textbooks? And you guys don't have any? Can you grab one of those textbooks and into this middle table on this side, so everybody has one? And just hold it off to the side for right now, because we're
This
not
is
gonna
the
be
thigh, right?
in there too long. All right. This right here, take a look at me, is referred to as the femoral triangle. Can you see the 3 sides of the femoral triangle?
Yeah.
When we get to some of the thigh muscles, you gotta be able to recognize that. And what you have to know right now is the lateral femoral triangle is the iliopsoas. Here's the femoral triangle. On the lateral side, iliopsoas. When these 2 muscles fuse, boom, lateral femoral triangle. Okay. Now what you're going to see on the anterior thigh is an upside down V. Can you see the upside down V?
Yep.
Everybody see that? Lateral of the upside down V is the tensor fascia lata muscle. Medial of the upside down V is the longest muscle fibers in your body. This is the sartorius. Again, red is the iliotibial tract. Tensor fascia lata muscle blue. But this is sartorius. That upside down V circles the quadriceps. And it circles the quadriceps. Upside down V, now you know this is the quadriceps right here. Upside down V. Okay. What was the red one?
Is that upside down V 2 separate muscles that split?
The
Okay.
lateral is this one,
And that, okay.
and the medial is the sartorius.
Okay.
Longest muscle fibers in your body. Everybody got it?
Oh gosh, I'm sweating.
All right. There's the upside down V. Everybody recognize the upside down V now?
Right?
Tensor fascia lata muscle in blue. Sartorius is the medial one in yellow. Everybody see the upside down V?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're ready to go to the thigh. Again, this is lumbodorsal fascia, gluteus maximus. Look right there on page 16, right in the middle of the right column. You see the thigh is split up into 3 sections. Everybody see that? Hamstrings you want to write posterior. We're going to start with those, obviously the posterior thigh. Next, the quadriceps, right anterior. If muscles are going to pull the thighs together and adduct them, they better be medial. So adductors are medial. Everybody write that down on page 16? Hamstrings posterior, quadriceps anterior, adductors medial. Now look at that figure in that textbook. You can see those sections are outlined with the quadriceps in purple, hamstrings in green, and on the medial side in blue are the adductors. Everybody see that? Everybody make sure you can see that in the figure, you know. Have your textbook here, at least see it now, and then when you get home, since everybody raise your hand, everybody look at the figure when you get home.
Mhm.
Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Everybody see the 3 sections outlined?
Yes.
Okay? Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Anybody not see that? Okay, the easiest way to remember this, and you can just look at the list on page 16. Look at the list on page 16 now. Hamstrings is a biceps and 2 semis. Quadriceps is a rectus and 3 vastuses. Can you see that in the list on page 16? Okay? Everybody got it? Easiest way to remember it. Hamstrings, which are the posterior, is biceps and 2 semis.
I'm sorry.
Then,
You're
on
okay.
page 16, next to biceps femoris, I would write lateral. It is the lateral hamstring muscle. The 2 semis are medial. So here it is here in orange, biceps femoris. The 2 semis are medial. Then what I would write is the semitendinosus is superficial. It lies on top of the semimembranosus.
Can you say that one more time?
The 2 semis are medial. Semimembranosus is deep. Semitendinosus lies on top of it.
Semitendinosus lies on top of the semimembranosus.
Membranosus.
Okay.
And also, I would write this note for visual recognition. Look at the semis at the distal end. And then you don't even have to remember, because the image on the distal end of the semis gives the name away. Can I show you that? What this looks like? This is on the half-size models with the left arm sticking out. Gluteus maximus there. Biceps femoris is lateral. The 2 semis are medial. Everybody look now. This is what I would do as a student, is I would find a way to make it easy to remember. I could remember more if I make it easy to remember. And on the distal end of the semis, you got a flat membrane-like muscle, semimembranosus. Lying on top of it, on the distal end, is an obvious tendon of the semitendinosus. At the distal end of the semis, the image gives the names away. On the large left leg, gluteus maximus again. Biceps femoris in orange, it's lateral. The 2 semis are medial. Look how flat semimembranosus is on the distal end. And then lying on top of it is an obvious tendon, semitendinosus. Biceps femoris, lateral, 2 semis, medial. On the distal end, this flattens out like a membrane, and on top of it is an obvious tendon. Everybody got it?
Yes.
That way you don't have to struggle to remember which one is deep and superficial. On the distal end, you'll see it. Everybody got it? Did you write that note down? That's a note of visual recognition. All right, you guys are going to really have to concentrate on thigh muscles for page 18. There's only 60 muscles on page 18. 6 of them are on the thigh. All 3 hamstring muscles. By the way, if you look at that picture that's in the textbook, doesn't that look like a ham steak?
Yeah,
Because
delicious.
that's what it is. The exact same cut in a pig's thigh is the ham steak. And that ham bone, when you get a full ham steak, that's the pig's femur.
Oh.
Everybody got it? And back in the old days, they used to let the meat age and cure. They used to hang the whole pig thigh by the biceps femoris and the semitendinosus. That's why they call them the hamstrings.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Sorry.
So, biceps femoris, it's the lateral one. Okay. I have orange, green, and blue.
Orange, green, and blue.
Now, that's just a lot of words to memorize, and if you've got lecture exam 2 you're studying for, and now lab exam 2 you're studying for, I would try to find a way of making this simple.
That'd be great.
Because remembering whether to know it or not is not optional. You guys don't have the option. You have to know it. Now the question is how can you do it to make it easier to know it? All right, don't laugh at my artwork. This is an os coxa with an operator frame. Here's the acetabulum. This is a stick figure. head of the femur, condyles, and on the lateral side we have both the tibia, lateral condyle, and underneath it the head of the fibula. Medial side, you can't see the acetabulum. But on the medial side, you only have the tibia. Fibula's the lateral bone. Alright. Biceps femoris has two heads. I'm going to draw the second head later. But if you're going to have to memorize these actions, I would, as a student, need something to put my brain's meat hooks into. It's just too much words on page 18 to not have any, boom, I'm going to start here, and that's going to help me to remember more. For example, here's the knee. If I originate, I'm a muscle, and I originate on the femur, and I insert here in the leg on the tibia and fibula, how many joints can I move? One, the knee. If you go on adjacent bone, only the articulation in between those two bones, you can move. Does this make sense? Now the long head of the biceps femoris, and you don't need to know that, actually bypasses the femur. So I'm just going to draw the long head for right now. Do you see how the long head has nothing to do with this black line, which is the femur? It bypasses it. Now how many joints can it move? Two. It can move both the knee and the hip. You following me? And that's exactly what it says here for biceps femoris. Goes from the ischial tuberosity, the short head is coming off the linea spura, yeah, that's adjacent, I get it. But because it originates also on the ischial tuberosity and goes all the way to the lateral condyle of the tibia and the head of the fibula, that's what I draw here, it can move both the knee and the hip. That is something that my brain will put its meat hooks into, and now I can remember that it's going to move both joints, flexes the leg, that's at the knee, extends and adducts the femur at the hip. Everybody got it? It does have a short head too, and it's going to originate from the linea spura, which is posterior femur. But for the actions, it helps to recognize the long head, which goes up. Basically, all the hamstrings originates from what you're sitting on, the ischial tuberosity. You're sitting on, okay? Now we got the two semis. So semis are medial. Semimembranosus is in blue, right? It's deep. And because it's deeper than the semitendinosus, which is on top of it, it has got to insert higher up on the tibia. You just got to draw the picture. You see how the deeper one has to insert up higher on the tibia. And the highest point on the tibia is the condyle, which is why the semimembranosus goes from ischial tuberosity to the medial condyle of the tibia, and the semitendinosus on top of it, yeah, it's still proximal, and yes, it's medial, it's just not the condyle. Proximal medial tibia. What does it say on page 18?
Proximal medial tibia. Is that what you're asking?
I got another one right?
You did.
Wow. They're on the medial, so they can medially rotate the femur at the hip, but they all flex a leg, and this is flexing a leg. All your hamstrings do this. Everybody got that? That's flexing the leg. That's how it moves the knee. But because the semis bypass the femur, you can also medially rotate the femur at the hip. Everybody got it?
Why is it bypassing the femur? Is it just not attached, or is it like
It's
more?
not attached, it has nothing to do with the femur.
Is there
Origin
something?
is above it,
Is there something attached to the femur above it?
uh-huh,
So this is
but not the
superficial?
semis.
Not the semis. Okay. Cool.
It inserts on the os coxa, the issue, goes all the way to the tibia, has nothing to do with the femur, that's why it moves two joints, both the hip and the knee. Does that help at all? Or you can just sort of code memorize the words on page 18. Your choice.
So if it's attached to the next thing that is attached to the femur, if that moves the femur, wouldn't it technically move with it, or is it just, do you follow what I'm asking?
Yes, well, and that's why even though it's not attached at the femur,
Uh-huh.
it can move the femur.
Oh. Cool.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's go to the quadriceps. It's a rectus and three vastus.
Okay, I just need
Back to page 16, you can see the upside down V encircles the quadriceps. There's three of the four. Quad means there's four, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's a rectus and three vastus. Red is the rectus femoris, and then after that it's simple. On the medial side in green, vastus medialis. Lateral side in orange, vastus lateralis.
medial lateral.
Just find the rectus femoris, then it's easy.
Just right there, right?
On the large left legs over there, upside down V, encircling
Oh,
the
sorry.
quadriceps. By the way, this shows much better from lecture that the rectus femoris is bipennate. It's got fibers going on both sides of the tendon. You can really see it really good on Fuse on Wheels here. You can actually see the white line and then the fibers coming off on both sides, bipennate. But you just got to go to the medial side, vastus medialis, go to the lateral side, vastus lateralis. Now, in order to see vastus intermedius, you have to take off rectus femoris. But on all our models in lab, when we take off the rectus femoris, you don't see vastus intermedius, you see the sheath covering it. And you can actually see on the handstake picture on the textbook that it's there, and it's deep to the rectus femoris. Everybody see that on the handstake?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a model that can show it. That's the second one. Vastus intermedius. I don't have a model that shows it.
Can you technically ask what's under here? No. Okay.
Same color arrows there. So cross off vastus
Vastus
intermedius.
intermedius.
Now turn back to page 18 and let's do the three that are on the screen here. The vastuses actually originate on the femur and go to the leg. So how many joints can it move? The vastuses. One, just the knee. And the quadriceps, if the hamstrings are flexing the leg, quadriceps are extending the leg. So let's do this vastus intermedius. I put it green. Vastus medialis rather. Starts on the linea spura. Goes to the tibial tuberosity, which is right here. That's why it can only move the knee. It extends the knee. Vastus lateralis, same thing. It's coming from the greater trochanter and the linea spura. Vastus lateralis, okay. Up here, and so this is the greater trochanter, linea spura.
Bless you.
But still, it's going from femur to tibia, can only extend the knee. Everybody got it?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to the rectus femoris. All the quadriceps, all of them, converge on the patellar tendon. Everybody see where I'm holding? And that patellar tendon inserts on the tibial tuberosity. It is what forms the tibial tuberosity. Everybody got it? So it's got the same insertion.
See if you break that here, flexing or me?
Remember how if you pull on muscle, it forms a bump? It activates the osteoblasts?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is why on the anterior ileum, you got the upside down V forming the anterior superior iliac spine. Did you guys study that for another thing? But it's this one in red, rectus femoris, that forms the anterior inferior iliac spine. It's all going to come together in the same insertion. Now look at that picture in red and tell me how many joints can the rectus femoris move? 2. It is the punting muscle. If you're going to punt a football, you have to have really strong rectus femoris because it flexes the femur, which is this, and it extends the knee, which is this. And if you're going to punt a football, you got to do that at the same time. Everybody got that? But it's moving 2. It's flexing the femur at the hip, extending the leg at the knee, because it bypasses the femur. Does this help at all?
Yeah. So it's technically both.
What doesn't help is you guys are like borderline comatose. That makes sense. Okay,
Oh, God.
can we move on from the quadriceps? Any questions on quadriceps? We just covered 6 muscles on page 18.
Are you gonna ask us what bones they move, or how many?
Those questions on page 18, I'm going to give you the name of the muscle, and the A to B questions is 2 out of the 3 columns.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody get that?
Yeah.
No models, no pins. I'm giving you the name of the muscle, and the A and B questions are 2 out of the 3 columns. What is the origin? What is the action?
Got it.
Everybody got it? But I'm not going to ask you the action.
Start now.
All right, let's now go back to the femoral triangles and let's do the adductors. We know that this is iliopsoas on the lateral, but if you go to the medial, we got the adductors. And the first one is the tiny one we call pectineus. Start there. And just wrap around the medial. We're going to do this in the leg too, because all the muscles in the leg look the same. So you've got to be systematic. Here you're going to start in the femoral triangle. You're going to go to the medial. First is pectineus. Second in purple is adductor longus. Third is gracilis. And by the time you get to gracilis here in blue, you are dead straight medial.
So that upper yellow and purple one are not connected? Those are 2
So
separate?
they're separate adductors.
Okay.
Pectineus, adductor longus, gracilis.
Is it more clear on a model that they're split? Because that photo, it looks like they're the same. Just trust you? Okay. No? Okay. All right.
When you start getting into the muscle models, it'll start jumping out.
Okay.
Right now, it looks like it's the same. No, it'll jump out. All right, here's this little guys, corridor-sized models. Quadriceps here, rectus femoris, vastus medialis with the sartorius. Boom, boom, boom. Same color arrows. Pectineus, adductor longus, gracilis. Gracilis is dead straight medial.
Do you see it there? What was it? Say it again. They look the same.
The third one you can cross off is adductor brevis. There's 3 less muscles now, but in a little bit I'm going to add 2. You're going to still be down that 2, so no bitching. Everybody got these? Okay, now this, what you want to write next to this slide is straight medial. This is a straight medial shot of those big legs. So this is vastus medialis, sartorius. Straight medial is gracilis. That's the blue arrow. And here is the largest of the adductors, adductor magnus, in red. So that's the adductors in order, starting from the femoral triangle. Pectineus, adductor longus, gracilis, adductor magnus.
Okay.
That's all the adductors, because I'm not gonna ask you adductor brevis. Everybody got it? What's the order? Actinius.
Longus.
Adductor longus.
Sorry.
Gracilis. Adductor magnus. Magnus is the biggest, but does that look even that big?
No,
Now you gotta look at the hamstake again.
it's big on the inside.
If you look in the blue line, adductor magnus is the biggest, but notice in that picture of the hamstake, most of the adductor magnus is deep. Very little of it comes out to the surface, and that's the only part that does. The rest of that adductor is deep. Can you see that in the hamstake? Are you even looking at it?
Yeah.
Or at this point you don't even care? The option, you do not have the option to know it. I'm just trying to give you easier ways to know it. You don't have the option to know it or not. Okay, so what are these guys over here on the left?
Those are the longest in your body, right?
Well, that's Sartorius here.
Okay, never mind.
Those are the semis.
Uh,
So this is what I want you to get out of this. Our thighs and legs are not four-sided blocks. They're round, like a stovepipe. And if you can see the vastus medialis over here, you can see the semis over here. Everybody got it?
yes.
Okay. So semi-membranosus deep, semi-tendinosus on top. All right, now let's go to the leg. Before I go to the leg, I need to erase this. So make sure, you guys got this already?
You got that?
Not much.
So- Someone get it? Anyone get it? Latte?
Iliotibial tract is fascia lata, and it's different from tensor fascia lata muscle.
You got it, okay.
Wasn't that much on it.
This is all the answers.
All right, so last week I wrote the thing,
There's a lot of
how to name
information.
muscles that move the fingers and thumbs, right?
Mhm.
And the hand and forearm. Here's the rules for the feet and toes. First, let's talk about the insertion. So, here's the foot. Okay, I know this is my hand, but here's the foot. If it inserts on the tops of the toes and it pulls, it's going to do this. What is that called? From here to here.
Extension.
Extension. So if it inserts on the top of the toes, that's extensor, doing the extension. How about on the bottom of the toes, curling the toes? Flexion. Then it can be inserting on the big toe, which is the hallux. Hallux, this is a commonly misspelled word for loud exam too, by the way. Hallucis. Again, really over accentuate the vowels.
How do you see?
Hallux. And it's on the regular little toes. It's digitorum. Now in the hand and fingers, if two muscles did the same thing, you'd have to use the word brevis and longus. That is actually not true for the leg. It doesn't matter if there's two muscles doing the same thing. So the location of the belly, if it is in the leg, above the ankle, that's longus. If it's in the foot itself, brevis. Everybody see the rules here? Everybody got it? So far so good?
Belly, breast.
All right. Now all the muscles of the leg look like identical straps. So you want to be systematic and start somewhere and wrap around, just like we did with the adductors. We started at the femoral triangle and just wrapped around the medial side. Everybody got it? Here you want to start with the bare bone, and that's the anterior crest that we studied for lab exam 1. Bare bone.
Yep.
Anterior crest, the only thing on top of that is hypodermis. The muscle next to that is the tibialis anterior. And this is it in green. You want to start there because it's next to the obvious bare bone. Starts on the lateral, goes diagonally across to the first metatarsal, and because it's diagonal, it can move the ankle in 2 directions. Do this and do this. Dorsiflexion and invert. This is the second to last muscle on page 18. Tibialis anterior starts at the lateral condyle and proximal tibia. So it starts in the leg and goes to the foot. It can only move the ankle. But because it's diagonal, starts lateral, goes medial, because metatarsal number 1 is going to your big toe. Your big toe is medial, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It better be, or you've got some messed up feet. But because it's diagonal, it dorsiflex and inverts, because that's both this direction and this direction. Because it's diagonal, it can be both. Everybody got it? All right. There it is again, next to the bare bone. You can see it starting lateral on the tibia, goes diagonal to the first metatarsal. Okay, the main calf muscle is the gastrocnemius.
Yes.
It has 2 heads, the lateral head and the medial head. And I need to know that because it's not on page 16. But it does insert on the tendocalcaneus, which inserts on the calcaneus bone.
So that white part is the tendon calcaneus?
Yes, and that is on page 16, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 synonyms. You can use every one of them. Just use one. Because if you misspell 1 out of 3, you get a half point. It's called tendocalcaneus, calcaneal tendon, or Achilles tendon.
Heard of that
Be
one.
careful on the spelling of Achilles. It's
Okay,
Greek,
Achilles.
not English.
Achilles.
Okay. Now this muscle bypasses the leg. It actually originates on the femoral condyles, goes past the tibia and fibula, and inserts on the calcaneus. How many joints can it move? 2. Turn to page 18. This is the last muscle we got to cover on page 18. Starts on the condyles of the femur, ends on the, you could say tendocalcaneus or just say calcaneus, because that's where the tendocalcaneus ends. So, it plantar flexes, inverts, and adducts the foot at the ankle, and it flexes the leg at the knee. So both the hamstrings and the gastrocnemius do this. Everybody got it? Both the hamstrings and the gastrocnemius do that. Any questions on page 18? We just got done with it. Are you glad?
Yeah.
All right. Gastrocnemius runs on top of a flat muscle called the soleus, and that's the yellow arrow. Right here we can only see the edge. Soleus. They both pull on the tendocalcaneus. When we get the, next week we're gonna have the cadavers out, by the way.
Yay.
Look at muscles, with covering muscles. And you're gonna see that, both the gastrocnemius and soleus pull on the tendocalcaneus. Now this model, the half-size models, I can take the medial head off, and now we can see more of the soleus, because it's deep to it.
Oh.
Everybody see that?
Uh-huh.
Any questions? Eventually I'm gonna take all these guys off when I start talking about this rule. Okay, so here's how we're going to be systematic with all these strap-like leg muscles. Start at the bare bones, anterior crest, right here at this edge of the tibia, and then you got the tibialis anterior. Next to that is this muscle in red. It splits into 4 tendons that inserts on the tops of the little toes. That's the red muscle. Use the whiteboard. What is the name of that red muscle?
Extensor.
Where's the belly of the muscle? It's in the leg. The red muscle is extensor digitorum longus.
Oh,
Do you see how it works?
yes. That's cool.
Belly's up here. That's not the foot. You guys remember the difference between the leg and the foot?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the leg. This is kind of where we're at right now, huh? This is the leg, this is the foot. Belly's in the leg. It's inserting on tops of the little toes. Extensor digitorum longus. Boom.
So it's multiple rules.
Then you wrap around to the lateral side. Well, lateral is the fibula. These are the fibularis muscles. You got fibularis longus. You got fibularis brevis. And you can cross off fibularis tertius. That's 4 muscles you can cross off.
Tertius. Tertius.
Okay? And then what's the yellow and the purple over here? Soleus deep, gastrocnemius on top. Remember, it's a stovepipe. And in this view, we can go from anterior to posterior.
Okay.
Everybody got it?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the order. Shall I say the order again?
Yeah.
Bare bone, tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, the 2 fibularis muscles, longus and brevis, and you're back to the backside, soleus gastrocnemius. Other than that, these muscles all look the same. That's why you want to be systematic. Even on the quarter-sized guys, the little guys, you can see that. In fact, we can put a green arrow way up on top here. This is the origin of the tibialis anterior right up here. Next to that, extensor digitorum longus, the 2 fibularis muscles, soleus gastrocnemius.
Gastrocnemius. Okay.
This is the bottom of the large legs. Here's the first 3. Tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus. This is fibularis longus. Fibularis brevis is down here. But from the anterior, we can't see soleus or gastrocnemius. Tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, fibularis longus. You could call it peroneus longus, but why? Remember the fibularis lateral, this is on the lateral leg. Make the names make sense. Choose the name that makes sense. Everybody? Choose the name that makes sense.
Like lambdoidal.
All right, so here's, we saw this already where we just took the medial head off of the gastrocnemius. Well, I can take off the whole thing, and it looks like this. All right, you remember the lateral medial malleolus
Yes.
that we just had a test on?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what those bumps are used for?
No.
They're pulleys. And muscles that are going to flex the toes, bend the toes, their tendons go around those bumps like pulleys to insert on the underside of the toe so they can pull and bend them.
Oh, that's cool.
Anybody know what the malleolus is used for? We'll actually see a picture of it here in a second.
That's pretty cool.
What you want to write next to this slide,
Flexion.
because people, this will confuse the heck out of you if you don't write this down.
Okay.
The tendons cross. These 2 muscles, the tendons cross. Right next to this picture.
The tendons cross.
For these 2 muscles, the tendons cross. And what starts out lateral will go medial. What starts out medial will go lateral. You gotta have that straight, or this is gonna confuse the heck out of you in open lateral. these tendons cross. Okay? Now, you can tell me the names of these muscles if you know this rule. This one, the belly's in the leg. It's going to go medial and insert on the underside of the big toe. What is the blue?
So, hallucis.
Flexor hallucis longus. Green one starts on medial, it's going to go lateral to the little toes. And it's going to insert on the underside of the little toes. What's the green one?
Flexor digitorum.
Flexor digitorum longus. But it will not make sense if you don't understand that these tendons cross. Everybody got it? On the large leg, same thing. Same color arrows. Flexor digitorum longus is going to go lateral. Flexor hallucis longus is going to go medial. And here you can see it actually going around the pulleys. Flexor digitorum longus, it's going to wrap around the malleolus and go underneath the little toes. Flexor hallucis longus starts on the lateral, it's going to go around the malleoli and inserts right there. Okay, I've taken off 4 muscles. I'm about to add 2. You better write this down on the bottom right of page 16 because I'm home to do this, especially since I've taken off 4. Are you ready?
Go.
This we already saw, flexor digitorum longus. Look at this muscle, where it inserts, and where the belly is. The 2 muscles I'm going to add follow this rule. What's the name of the faint green arrow?
And it's the digitor. It's the digits, right?
It's on the
Okay,
inside.
this is the leg, this is the foot. What's the name of that faint green muscle? Flexor digitorum brevis. Everybody see how it
Yes.
follows the rule?
Yeah.
Flexor digitorum brevis is now added to page 16. Here's the flexor hallucis longus, the belly up here in the leg, and you can see it crisscrosses. It starts lateral, and that's where it ends up. Boom. Underside of the big toe. Same color arrows, just took some stuff off.
Digitorum or digitoris? It's this one here.
All right, this one muscle model of just the foot, it might still be in the cabinet. The foot is going to be station 25, lab exam. This will be station 25. All right, here's the muscles that we already saw. Flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus. Here's the one I just added, flexor digitorum brevis. This is just like in the wrist, you have a retinaculum, one word. Don't add anything to it, just retinaculum, not a muscle. But it's one of the things that you can possibly strain, stretch, or tear when you sprain your ankles. Everybody got it?
Uh-huh.
Any of these things, any of these tendons as well, but retinaculum is commonly torn because it's a little bit thin and it's got a lot of stress from all those tendons. Retinaculum, retinaculum, all blue arrows, retinaculum. Okay, we already saw these muscles. Against the bare bone is tibialis anterior. Next to that is extensor digitorum longus. Here's the insertions right here. Boom, 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 boom. But this is the one I'm adding in purple. You can see by this top purple arrow, the belly is up here in the leg. And look where it is inserted.
Big toe.
What is the name of the purple arrow?
Hallucis
Longus. Extensor hallucis longus. I've taken off 4, I've just added 2. And both of the ones I've added follow this rule.
how high up does that go?
all the way up in the leg. Okay? Retinaculum, tibialis anterior over here, extensor digitorum longus here, and this is the one I added. Extensor hallucis longus.
Extensor?
Everybody got the two that I added? I took off 4, added 2, you're still down in that 2, and the 2 that I added follow this rule. So no bitching.
Extensor hallucis longus.
Okay, any questions? That's lab exam 2 material. Next week we start lab exam 3 material.
I didn't get any